Hi everybody. We're going to start with our next talk, which is on hybrid cloud seeding, presented by Vinish and Tenoy Bush. Enjoy.
Hello guys, I am Tenoy Bush. Next slide. So here's some things about me. I am a senior consultant at a Big Four firm, and I'm also a red team lead over there. Been pen testing for about 3.5 years for about 30 plus organizations, medium, large scale organizations. I work cross sectors, including oil and gas, telecom, media, technology. I have a few Hall of Fames, few CVEs, and this is my second time at Balcon here, and it's been awesome. Along with me is my co-speaker.
Hello, all people. Myself, Vignesh. I am working as a penetration tester full-time, and I have few Hall of Fames under my name with respect to Google, Twitter, and Bugcrowd. And I am author of few CVEs, and I am an official Python contributor.
So just giving the basic introduction to this entire talk and what this is going to be about. How many pen testers are in this hall presently? Any pen testers here? Yeah, okay. So good. For the rest of you guys, we'll give you a brief background about what exactly an on-premise Active Directory is, and what exactly a Cloud Azure Active Directory is, what is the architecture of integration between Azure Cloud and on-premise Active Directory. And then we're going to be talking primarily about enumeration of a hybrid cloud environment, which connects the Azure Cloud Active Directory and on-premise Active Directory. Along with this, I have published a new RAN script for enumeration of hybrid cloud environment, and it'll go along with the story that we compromised a hybrid cloud environment. Yeah. So I'll give it over to Vignesh to cover over the on-premise.
So I hope everyone is aware of Active Directory. So here, as my colleague Tanoy said, we are going to discuss about three things. First, as per Active Directory, as per Wikipedia, as everyone knows, I hope everyone knows about Active Directory. So it's generally a directory service which Microsoft has developed for its internal domain networks. So in layman terms, if I explain, it's like a crown jewel to an organization. We can call it like godlike database, which gives an authentication and human collection and handles credential and authentication mechanisms. So how does an Active Directory structure looks like? So let me put a domain as a triangle. The domain will cover a management as a group, and with respect to management, there were several shared folders, and the users would be accessing it. The accessing point of view would be, so here is how users approach the Active Directory. An Active Directory would be, a domain would be the company, and it should be having its own respective servers and services where the users will access it with respect to their functionalities and their privileges. So I hope everyone is aware of the red teaming, right? How many of you are red teamers here? Anyone? Okay, fine. So red teaming activity. So nowadays what the red teamers will do is, once they compromise one system through any weak password or phishing or using some several techniques, they'll get the user, any one of the user in their domain, and then use the various techniques to compromise more systems, basically pivoting into networking systems, right? So what they will do is, they will try to own the domain system or try to become a domain administrator using various tools which is available online like Bloodhound, Sharphound, right? So once the domain administrator is compromised on Active Directory, the red teamers, what they will try to do is, they will try to compromise Exchange services, SharePoint, etc. This is with respect to Active Directory. Next. So this is the sample attack path on Bloodhound. As I said earlier, Bloodhound is an domain Active Directory tool where one will use it to gain a domain administrator privileges. As you can see in diagram, how the red teamer will get the access. So as I talked earlier, first thing is about Active Directory. Now we are jumping it or navigating into Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is nothing but Active Directory over the cloud. So which we will get in with an add-ons like Mailbox, SharePoint, etc. And as seen earlier, one can't simply gain access to SharePoint services, etc. If you jump with respect to Azure AD context, there we can explain like tenants, domains, and devices. So what we did is we put forth how the Azure AD devices tenants information can be got. So basically a tenant in Azure AD is users in a company or information about them. Basically a tenant is can be called as domain. So if we just put forth how, if you want to gain information about your Azure AD tenant detail, or if you want to know about which Azure AD domain which you belong to, you can execute the following commands. So what we did was, here we did to pull up the Azure AD tenant detail and Azure AD directory role. So as I said, tenant is a company and the company will have its own directory role, and the particular directory role has its own members. So now with respect to AD, Azure AD, there were roles and rights. Roles are nothing but domain groups. And with respect to applications, with respect to the functionality, there would be various level of user roles. We'll go through some critical roles and rights over there. So these were the critical part with respect to Azure AD. Since how many of you are aware of privilege escalation? I hope everyone. Okay, for those who are unaware, I'll just give you a sample part. So privilege escalation in layman terms, if I put, and guest user gaining an admin user, or admin user using the guest user is using the admin's functionality, trying to exploit the admin's functionality. So here Azure AD roles and rights. So global administrator I can call as in whom's account is created and based on the organization top level ID, and privileged role administrator would be the Azure ID whom was assigned by the global administrators, and billing administrators we can say like some financial accountant staff or someone who manages your subscriptions like Azure services, how much you utilized for your bandwidth, etc. And password administrator resets passwords, manage service. It's simply like help desk thing. Service administrator manages service requests and monitoring network traffic. He is simply like network monitoring agent who manages your Azure Active Directory services. So user management administrator is the one whom resets passwords and manages users groups and service requests. Exchange administrator, SharePoint administrator, and Skype for business administrator or the users whom with respect to the respective functionality. For example, Exchange administrator will manage Exchange admin center, SharePoint services, Skype will be like a communication point. So this is the sample Azure AD roles which we have retrieved it. As you can note it over there, the user role is currently just an user. So any Azure AD user with a role of user can retrieve it, roles, and with respect to users, we have masked some sensitive details. So as you can see, Windows Server AD or Azure Active Directory. Next. And the particular users' respective groups. So basically, one of the major problem which we face in Azure AD environment is members will request for offline device requests, like managers will request for something like, I want to sync my Outlook emails, I want to use it in some external devices outside of my corporate devices, corporate domains, on their personal devices. So this is the Azure device logs wherever they have logged in and wherever they get synced in with respective to their activity, last seen activity. So if something goes wrong, we can figure it from over here. So next talk would be, as far we've seen about Azure Active Directory and Active Directory. Now we would be navigating to hybrid cloud infrastructure.
Okay, coming on to the main part of our presentation, where we are going to talk about how Azure Active Directory gets integrated with on-premise Active Directory, right? To understand this, why exactly is organizations not going to a complete cloud infrastructure? Because cloud infrastructure is supposed to be managed by more professional security teams. The problem lies with respect to industries where they have a lot of off-the-cloud work, and you really can't put a distributed control system on cloud unless you want a Stuxnet to hit you. And for enabling this kind of interaction between on-premise and hybrid on Azure cloud environment, Microsoft came up with this Azure AD Connect solution that allows on-premise AD to connect with the Azure cloud. And this, of course, makes the red teamers' life harder, because on-premise, what you had was infrastructure like your Exchange subscriptions, all your systems on your pre-installed servers on the premise. So all you needed to do was laterally move in the environment and compromise as much systems as possible. However, when you go on cloud, each one of your devices now become a subscribed application of your organization. It wouldn't really be as simple to compromise, or it doesn't seem to be as simple to compromise this environment compared to the on-premise servers, where you can just run Mimikatz and get passwords off. Okay, so what is the key differences in the cyber kill chain we talk about? On-premise and on-cloud, on-premise is more of human intelligence. You do user interaction exploits, you do browser exploits, you do client-side exploits, get access to one system, do some phishing, social engineering, and get access to one system. Move around in the network by, okay, you need to do some persistence on the file system of the user, move around on the network using Bloodhound, and finally you would be actually pivoting machine to machine, which might be physical machine or virtual machine on that environment. On cloud environment, you would need to do more of open source intelligence like cyber footprint, find out IT servers which are vulnerable to exploits. We have to actually exploit those systems and slowly get server-side injection or server-side exploits and compromise the server. And then we need to make a persistent exploit on the memory of those servers. Internal movement in that becomes only possibly done by administration tools, and lateral movement is done by resource pivoting on an on-cloud, complete on-cloud environment. Now, in a hybrid cloud environment, however, what we can utilize is basically for an entry, an active recon phase, we can use human intelligence. Delivery, we can do user interaction, get a shell in a user system. Exploitation would involve both client-side as well as server-side exploitations at times to get probably one stable foothold on the network. Then persistence can be done using file systems of the end users. Internal recon will be done via PowerShell and administration tools both. And lateral movement needs to be done first on the machine and then on the resource and then back on the machine. And right now we're basically going to be focusing more towards how exactly the lateral movement is done, machine resource, machine pivoting. Yeah. Okay, so in PowerShell, it's pretty simple to enumerate the infrastructure of Azure. you just need to install Azure AD and you need to run a couple of commands. So to get the tenant information, tenant is basically the God infrastructure of your entire organization, whether you have multiple forests on your Active Directory. So, and then you have something called as Azure AD directory role. These would include information about your, these are your privileged groups. You can say as like in domain admin, in cloud you have something called as company administrator or global administrator. And you can further go on and enumerate objects, all the role members, who are the administrators in your company by utilizing this command. This is for getting a list of all the AD users. Yeah. And all the AD groups. The difference between groups and roles is primarily roles are more towards the directory administration. So if you have an application, a subscription like your mailbox, you would actually delegate its role as an Exchange administrator on the cloud. Groups are more towards server administration, like example, if you have DHCP administrator, these become your AD groups, and these can be enumerated from your cloud as well. And to get a rough understanding of what all roles exist and what all are the deeper concepts, or like what exactly a role has been built for, the role templates always available. So if your organization utilizes something more, or if the organization you're trying to attack utilizes something more, you can easily go read the role template and understand what exactly is the description of that specific role. This is the service principle, basically the different groups created for administering services of your Azure AD. This is quite good information about, it gives you good enumeration information as telling you what are the different users and important credentials of that organization. Now, each tenant that you get from a organization, you can easily enumerate the users on that specific domain of that organization in Azure AD using this command. Yeah. Okay, so generally the target for red teamers would be so easy, right? However, it's not always the case. So when we do a red teaming for a large organization, your Bloodhound output might end up like this, where you can actually see the domain administrator is nothing to do with the rest of the infrastructure. So it would not really interface in any way, so you would not be able to compromise the domain administrator in any case. This happens especially in a scenario where you're either isolating the domain administrator only to the domain server or having a PIM utilized in that environment. Now, the positive side of a hybrid cloud for a red teamer is the fact that you do not require domain administrators. The point of domain administrators always been that we can get access to all the systems, we can get access to all the mailboxes, we can go ahead and replicate anyone's mailbox and extract critical information. In a hybrid cloud environment, your target does not become the domain administrator, rather becomes the company administrator of your hybrid cloud. And this is the classic example of Microsoft hybrid cloud. So you have your on-premise AD and your Azure AD Connect synchronizes your on-premise AD with the Azure AD. Azure AD, you would have a lot of subscriptions in place. Then you would, in your environment, you would have valid user accounts and accounts that have been expired and accounts from different forests that can access the same cloud environment. Yeah. I guess all of this looks fine but then you have Microsoft in place. Okay, so it's now to tell a story of our lateral movement, how we actually compromise an entire organization and their Exchange servers, along with a small script that we just published on GitHub. Yeah. So the first stage of the cyber kill chain, which I told is human intelligence. What we started was by, enumerating that organization. This can be done either via uncredentialed or credential harvesting. One, you can utilize the method if you're red teaming from an external perspective. Go to LinkedIn, you'd find usernames, combine the usernames, run it on AD Cloud, right? If you can run these accounts on AD Cloud, you would know what is the username credentials, who are the valid usernames or not. If you're in the environment, you can run something like enum for Linux and try to extract any information if there is any available anonymous connections on the servers. And credential harvesting is pretty simple using PowerShell if you already have a domain account. Then to find out different types of domain account, whether the domain account is valid, invalid, expired, you can basically either use SMB map, like next slide. Yeah, so this is something when you run SMB map, you get 3 types of output. One will be, the first one is basically when an account is expired. Second one is that of a success, and third one is that of a disabled account. Yeah. And the same can be done using PowerShell by just doing search AD account expired. So now I would like to move on to the demo. For the demo, basically this is the entire Active Directory that we set up locally. For running this kind of exploit on your organization, you'd primarily need PowerShell version 5 running, and you need to have Azure AD module installed, as well as the hacking script that I just uploaded with the link available here. Yeah. So, okay, moving on to the demo. Okay. So, as I had earlier mentioned, the entire script I have already made available. I'll just run the script, but before that, I just show what the script actually does. So the entire list of credentials for enumeration, like the entire set of commands that we did, you just have it all in one place where it will help you run. And all you need to do is run this script. Okay. So first you bypass the execution policy so that you can execute Azure script. And it asks you for username, password, which you can gather via during the reconnaissance phase. So before that, what I would do is probably show you a list of users who have their accounts expired. So interestingly, these two users, A role and B back, have their accounts expired, and ideally in an on-premise environment, we shouldn't be able to utilize this. Why this would be interesting? Because when you have to enumerate an organization, expired accounts generally would be that account would have been given a timeline for usage for about 1 year, like a contractor account. Generally, these accounts are not disabled. They just get expired and are left as is. So utilizing, so if in case you get hold of the credentials of any expired accounts that either might have been saved on a file somewhere, you can actually utilize this account. you can actually go ahead and extract all the information of your organization. Why this is? This is actually a known issue by Microsoft, and why this still exists, only Microsoft can answer for that. Okay. Okay, so looking at each one of these roles, you can see BBAC is actually member of one of this administrative object ID groups. So if we try to figure out what exactly is this administrative object ID group, so BBAC is also one of the accounts which has been which also has expired. You actually see this role is that of a, this object is that of a administrator. I quite can't see it. Okay. So now, okay, so what can be done with this user is pretty interesting, because BBAC as a user also has so the net user command of BBAC would actually give you that this is just a domain user in the environment and should not really have any rights on this environment. Also, it would give you one fact that, yeah, it would give you one fact that the account expiry was on 14th and it's been expired and should not be working currently. But interestingly, Microsoft allows BBAC to log in, and you are actually nothing but the Active Directory administrator. Probably you had come on a contract basis, and you can actually go ahead and add new users, delete new users, invite new guest users, and even backdoor these accounts. That's Microsoft's expiry policy for you, and yeah. Now going back to the slides. Okay, correlating cloud and on-premise, right? So if you get a list of your different users of Active Directory and you get the different users of your on-premise device, how exactly do you correlate them? So there is one interesting RFC that is called RFC 822, which is basically what is utilized for creation of user principal names. Yeah, so user principal names, you can easily extract this information from the directory. Actually, we have not yet completed this part in our script. We'll be pushing that probably by the end of Balcon, that's end of today, where you can actually extract the list of users from the on-premise Active Directory, and you can correlate it with the list of users, next slide, on the cloud. By just getting the user principal name and correlating it. And this, utilizing this method, if you correlate, do a VLOOKUP using your Excel, you can actually end up with the path and then load it on Bloodhound to get the path to the company administrator rather than the domain administrator. Yeah, so welcome to Microsoft, because accounts don't expire on cloud. Yeah. Okay, so we identify privileged accounts, utilize UPNs, and identify the SAM account names. This is to be released in our script at the end of the day, and we can actually load it on Bloodhound, like I said, and yeah. So interestingly, what can also be done is the fact that if you are having a multi-forest organization, it is not multi-domain organization, like it's not parent and child domain kind of an organization. If you have two separate forests itself, if you are integrating that with Azure Cloud on one tenant, it's going to allow you to enumerate both the cloud, both the infrastructures without any problem. So we continue pillage, utilizing this interesting concept of pillage exchange on this subscription service. As long as it's federated, we can actually just run this command and we can still get. So even though cloud services promise you that you are not vulnerable to compromises that can happen in red team environment, you can actually still run this command if you have the right user, and if you have enumerated the right user along the path, you can run this command and you can replicate the mailbox of any user onto your mailbox. And okay, though interestingly, what we also found out is using expired accounts to perform tasks on Azure AD puts a huge lot of confusion in the mind of any security operating center team or a blue team, because they are not then able to understand who exactly performed that account, because they would not be able to look it up and it would come as an expired account on the premise, whereas that user could go ahead and utilize the same roles in Azure environment. So yeah, and hence if you are actually backdooring the Azure environment, the best form of backdooring Azure environment is by utilizing an expired account and giving it roles that it would giving it roles equivalent to a privileged administrator in the Azure account. Yeah. I think that was our slides. Yeah. And if you have any questions for us. Yeah.
Microsoft must be aware of it.
Please.
Microsoft must be aware of this issue, and it must have been reported a long time ago. So what is their reply of this? Is it like no fix, or is it by design, or?
Okay, so we had not actually reported this to Microsoft earlier. I actually found this out last year, but then I thought it was more of a configurational issue. I was not really aware much that it was a design issue. And what happened recently was like, not recently, I also found out another vulnerability where you can actually utilize one user's multi-factor authentication method and authorize yourself on another user's account. So you use user A's username and password, whereas the OTP of user B, yeah, you can get yourself authenticated on that account. However, I missed on reporting it, and I believe someone did report it last month, and they did get a CVE for it. So this one, when I reported it to Microsoft, they told this is a design issue. It's Okay, the answer was quite funny. It was like, this is a feature that would be required by enterprises, and I don't know what feature it is, but yeah, but then, and it has been inbuilt into the infrastructure, the AD Connect solution in itself, and they are aware of this issue and they are working towards fixing it and something like that, yeah. It was a long reply.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions?
So one very interesting correlation rule that normally users put up on their SIEM is that they don't really look into the expired accounts and what they do with the expired accounts, what happens on the cloud with the expired accounts. So it's a weird thing because they wanted to reduce, like organization that I went and did pen test for, they wanted to reduce the bandwidth because they have over 100,000 users using at a time. So they wanted to reduce the bandwidth being utilized for the SIEM Splunk stack, I think, because the logs come more over there. So they disallow all this information coming with respect to your expired accounts, locked accounts, disabled accounts. But utilizing this can actually bypass, like you'll undergo zero detection in that environment. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.